The very first season of Beastars kicks things off with a tiny white rabbit getting bear-hugged by a big wolf with red glowing eyes. It's a weird and scary scene. The scene then shifts to an alpaca named Tem. He instantly gets killed in the very first moment he appears on screen. All we know about Tem is that he gets killed by an unknown carnivore in a classroom in his school. Now this incident sets the precedent for the entire first season, as it increases the divides between the herbivores and the carnivores at the prestigious Cherryton Academy. The tensions are high within the drama club, which Tem was a part of. Now that Tem is dead, they need to find a replacement for his role. And here we meet an alpaca named Else, who is scared of a wolf in her class who she thinks might make her the next victim of a predation incident. Then Else comes face to face with the wolf, who is now the main character of the series. His name is Legoshi. Turns out Legoshi didn't want to kill her during their first meeting, and instead wanted to pass on a letter from Tem to her. He was close friends with Tem and he knew that Tem liked Else a lot, so he passed the letter in memory of his homie. Legoshi then expresses that he's always felt prejudiced against, as he's either hated or feared by everyone he comes across. The next day, we see Legoshi and a new character named Lewis pay their respects for Tem. We see here that Lewis is the lead actor in the upcoming play, and he's essentially the leader of everything within the school grounds. He tells Legoshi that he has a task for him, so they go over to have a talk. Elsewhere at the school, we meet a pure white dwarf rabbit named Haru, who gets bullied by her classmates because so many guys like her due to her rareness and looks. They throw her books and mattresses out of the dorm, and she's forced to eat alone and doesn't have many friends. She then gets harassed by a girl named Mizuchi, who throws her food out of her hands and dumps a bucket of water on her. Meanwhile, Lewis tries to name Legoshi as the replacement for Tem, but a new character named Kai bursts into the room and demands that he should replace Tem instead. A fight almost breaks out and Legoshi is there to stop it, and things cool off afterwards. Lewis tasks Legoshi with being the lookout at night while they sneak into the theater room to practice their lines. However, while on lookout, Legoshi picks up Haru's scent and his predatory instincts kick in, bringing us back to that open back hug scene. Legoshi is stuck in a sort of internal struggle against his predatory instincts. He almost succumbs to his instincts, but a character named Zoe snaps him out of it by calling to him. Haru boosts the frick out of there before Legoshi can say anything in his defense. Zoe shows him to Lewis, who had broken his leg, to save Zoe from falling off the stage. The next day, a fight breaks out in the cafeteria, which prompts Legoshi's instincts again, and he snaps at them. But then they try to pick a fight with Legoshi instead. Lewis stops them, and we learn that Lewis is in the running for Beastar, a title created for the school's hero, who unites all the students above the discrimination, fear, and prejudices. We then see Lewis trying his hardest to keep the play going, but his leg injury is worsening by the minute. Legoshi is sent to pick up some flowers for the play, where he runs into Haru and he realizes that he had accidentally injured her during his random display of predatory dominance. He asks her about it, but she says she can't remember what happened. He helps her out with some of her chores, and she wants to repay him for the kindness. He doesn't know what to say though, because he just wants to keep talking to her. She mistakes his silence for something else and assumes that since he's a guy, he's going to want to sleep with her, so she strips down in front of him. Haru starts to undress Legoshi's pants, but he bolts out of there in a panic. He learns about her somewhat tainted reputation for being an S-word in the school, but he still thinks she's a good animal despite her presumptuous reputation. He talks to Kai and finds out that almost everyone in the drama club has some sort of fetishistic secret in their past, making them wonder what Lewis's past was like. Lewis's leg injury seems to be getting worse by the day though, and Legoshi walks in to ask him a few questions regarding the play's lighting. Lewis gets super pissed off at Legoshi over the fact that he tries to act innocent despite being a wolf and being super powerful. Lewis feels insulted by this because, as a deer, he has almost no physical powers. This causes Legoshi to do some self-reflection, where he realizes he's more than just a monstrous wolf and that he's developing feelings for Haru. The episode caps off with Lewis doing his absolute best, fighting through the pain to deliver a fantastic performance during the play. However, when the curtain closes, Lewis collapses. It turns out that Lewis has a broken leg, but the audience is unaware of it since the curtains had closed. However, Lewis can't do the second show tomorrow, and they're in limbo now since they have to find a replacement for him as soon as possible. The Bengal tiger Bill is picked for Lewis's replacement, and Legoshi is tasked to fill in for Bill's role as a minor villain. Just before the play, Legoshi smells something on Bill, and Bill confesses he takes a small dose of rabbit blood before performing as some sort of performance enhancement utility. This pisses off Legoshi, and they almost get into a fight. However, the play is going much worse than when Lewis was on stage, and Legoshi breaks character, deciding to attack Bill on stage. He pummels Bill's face in, and in return, Bill claws his back up. Lewis steps in to stop them both, but the audience doesn't realize this was part of the play. The two are reprimanded by Lewis, and Bill especially, for taking rabbit blood. They still maintain the image that it was all planned so that nobody gets into trouble. Legoshi's friend named Jack makes an appearance. The Labrador Retriever picks up on the fact that Legoshi was actually not acting and really fighting Bill. He also picks up on Legoshi possibly being in love, and Legoshi's nervousness confirms Jack's suspicions. While Legoshi is falling crazily in love with Haru, she on the other hand is sleeping with Lewis. 1 month later, the set crew are preparing for the Meteor Festival. The crew is discussing the candle lighting ceremony, where couples that light candles together live long and healthy relationships. Meanwhile, Haru is still being consistently bullied by Mizuchi and her clique of toxic B-words. However, Legoshi steps in and puts an end to it. The two of them later go on to have dinner together. He's struggling to even ask her name while she's battling her inner instincts, telling her to stay away from him. Later on, they take a walk together towards her dorms, and this is where the two make eye contact for the first time. However, a few days later, another herbivore was killed, and it was reported on the news, increasing the divide among the students. While wandering the halls, Legoshi comes across a freshman wolf named Juno, getting bullied by some dudes due to their carnivore heritage. Legoshi stops it and learns that Juno had joined the drama club just now as well. The sophomore drama club members are sent to discuss the details of the Meteor Festival with the city. Lewis warns all of them to stay away from the black market areas as they head out. Legoshi, Bill, Tao, and Aoba arrive at the city. They go to the meeting at City Hall, and afterwards they talk about hookups and making out with girls. Legoshi is peer pressured by the boys into talking to Juno, since she's new and probably looking for friends. The way back becomes confusing though, as they get lost and find themselves in the black market by accident. Bill wants to indulge in the offerings and eats a man's fingers. Legoshi is distraught and disgusted by this, and he bolts out of there. He thinks about Haru as he runs, about how he feels for her, and yet despite those feelings, he's scared that his predatory urges might be harmful for Haru's life. His stress leads him to collapsing, and he wakes up to find himself chained in a doctor's basement. The doctor, named Gohin, is actually a nice guy though, and he tells him that his attraction to Haru might be a manifestation of his carnivorous urges to eat her. On his way back, he meets Aoba, who also didn't eat in the black market and managed to get out of there. Some filler content starts out here where a new hen character named Legome is introduced. Legoshi enjoys eating egg sandwiches, but those eggs actually come from Legome, who prides herself on having the best eggs. Elsewhere, Haru is banging Lewis, and here we find out a bit about how they first met. Haru ran into him when his horns were shedded, and while Haru tended to his wounds, the two started going at it. However, Lewis is supposed to keep his lineage going, and his family already has a bride found and ready for him, but Haru was aware and okay with this. On the way away from the hookup, Lewis runs into Legoshi, who was looking for Haru. Lewis tells him that she's not there and tells him to go talk to Juno. Legoshi and Juno start talking and practicing their choreography together. Here Juno comes to the realization that she has feelings for Legoshi. She asks him if he feels the same way, but he kinda just doesn't react, meaning that he's not into her. While working on the festival, Haru approaches Legoshi and asks for his help since she's the only one in the gardening club, but he refuses, wanting to keep a safe distance. However, he sees Lewis and Haru interacting, which makes him so jealous that he realizes he's actually in love with her, and not just hungry for her due to his predatory urges. Haru and Legoshi end up being the last few students leaving the festival grounds. The two leave together and try to speak about the first time that they truly met. They talk about how Haru tried to seduce him when they first met, and they get into an argument. She says that she can't understand how she feels and she tries to leave. He tries to stop her from leaving, but bystanders mistake that as him harassing her, and so the two run away together to save themselves from getting arrested. The two then talk and things calm down. Haru confesses she remembers getting attacked that night, but still doesn't know it was Legoshi. He contemplates telling her the truth, but doesn't out of fear that she'll stop talking to him. Everyone leaves, but Lewis agrees to help Juno rehearse a bit. She jumps on him and decides that she wants to become Beastar, as well as wants to make Legoshi her boyfriend. Nothing comes out of that though. She just keeps trying to hit on Legoshi, but he doesn't really respond to her feelings. A sudden blackout happens, so Legoshi tries to find Haru to keep her safe. He follows her scent. She hugs him when she sees him, mistaking him for Lewis. The lights come back on and Juno sees the two together and realizes Legoshi has feelings for Haru. We get an insight into Lewis's dark past that he keeps a secret. He was used as a carnivore food on the black market when he was a kid, and was rescued by the leader of Horn's conglomerate named Ogma. He tasked Lewis with the goal to change the world, and he takes that very seriously and aims to become Beastar because of it. Lewis almost gets attacked by a carnivorous leopard, but Legoshi prevents the attack without Lewis even finding out. The leopard tells Legoshi that with an herbivore as Beastar, the carnivores will lose their influence. This has led to a bunch of them wanting to kill Lewis, and Legoshi decides he'll keep Lewis safe from all of them. He later decides to meet Haru at the festival to confess his feelings to her, but only her shoe is found. The news is told to Legoshi, and the culprits are known to be working for the Shishigumi, a den of lions who kidnapped her to feed her to their boss. Haru is some sort of delicacy for them. Lewis explains everything to the mayor, but he doesn't plan on doing anything anyways, so it's a waste of time. The mayor then bribes Lewis by saying he'll delete the record of his dark past if he keeps quiet about this. Legoshi asks for Lewis's help to find her, but Lewis refuses, and the two get into a fight. Legoshi goes by himself to the black market to look for Haru. He's attacked, but later rescued by Gohin. He explains everything to Gohin, who doesn't want to help him. Legoshi does find the lion's den, and gets into a fight with one of the henchmen. He almost gets killed, but Gohin steps in and shoots the lion with his crossbow. The two of them then fight through all the lions in the den to get to Haru. Haru's past is explored, as she's always felt like a small, helpless animal who would die quite easily. The only moments in her life where she felt powerful was when she slept with guys, so she created this promiscuous path to protect herself from feeling fragile. Here she realizes that the only one who didn't make her feel that way was Legoshi, who chose to protect her even when he didn't want to sleep with her. She's just about to get eaten and die, but Legoshi bursts in through the door to save her. He embraces his dark side for the first time and maws the life out of the lion's leader. It turns out though, Legoshi leaves the lion boss alive because he didn't want to be a murderer. This is a good sentiment, but it almost becomes his death as the boss almost shoots him. However, Lewis steps in and saves him, shooting the boss for what he had done. Haru and Legoshi get some food and miss their bus, so they find a hotel to stay the night, where they wind up in a love hotel. He comes clean and tells her that he was the predator who attacked her that night, and she tells him she had a hunch it was him all along. The things between the two get heated as feelings rise up, but Haru's instincts kick in, which prevent her from sleeping with him. Haru says she can force it to contain it and they can do the deed anyways, but it feels weird, so Legoshi decides against it. The two head back to school and a rivalry between Haru and Juno starts. Lewis seems to be missing, but the show must go on and the drama club does their performance to perfection. Here Legoshi confesses his love to Haru amongst the crowd, but the drama club pulls him away from her to celebrate him for saving Haru. Juno tries to convince him to light a candle with her, but he refuses and chases after Haru instead. The two talk about their instincts and urges taking control of them, and Legoshi says he needs to get stronger to control them. Haru agrees and says she'll be waiting. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.